Recording in progress.
Universal mental factors. Phassa, Vedana, Sanya, Cetana, Ekaggata, Jivitindriya, Manasikara. Occasionals. Vitakka, Vichara, Adhimukha, Iriya, Piti, Chanda. Then, Akusala, Moha, Ahirika, Anuttappa, Uddacca, Lobha, Ditti, Mana, Dosa, Issa, Machariya, Kukucha, Vichikicha, Thinavidya. Today we are going to learn beautiful mental factors, Sobhana Cetasikā, and their associations. So we can classify those mental factors into 4 groups. What are them? Group number 1, common for beautiful consciousness. In Pali, Sobhana Sadharana. The common mental factors for beautiful consciousness. Sobhana Sadharana Cetasikā. There are 19. The next group, abstinences. In Pali, Viratiyo. Tiso means 3. Tiso Viratiyo. There are 3 abstinences. The next one, limitless. Appamanyayo. There are 2 Appamanya Cetasikas. Next one, Panyindriya or Panya. The faculty of wisdom. How many altogether? Sobhana Sadharana, 19. Virati, 3. Appamanya, 2. Panya, 1. Altogether 25. Common for beautiful consciousness, 19. Abstinences, 3. Limitless, 2. Wisdom, 1. Altogether 25 Cetasikas. What are Sobhana Sadharana? Common for beautiful consciousness. Saddha, Sati in Pali, Saddha, Sati, Hiri, Ottappa, Alobha, Adosa, Tatramanchattata. Faith, mindfulness, fear of wrongdoing, shame of wrongdoing, non-attachment, non-hatred, and the neutrality of the mind. We will discuss one by one later. Today we are going to discuss this group number 1 and Panya. Altogether 8 Cetasikas. There are also 6 pairs. 2 Pastaddhi, 2 Lahuta, 2 Mudita, 2 Kammanyata, 2 Pagunyata, 2 Ujukata. We will discuss about these mental factors in next week. Altogether, there are 12, 6 pairs, Kaya Pastaddhi, Chitta Pastaddhi, Kaya Lahuta, Chitta Lahuta, Kaya Mudita, Chitta Mudita, Kaya Kammanyata, Chitta Kammanyata, Kaya Pagunyata, Chitta Pagunyata, Kaya Ujukata, Chitta Ujukata. These 19 Cetasikas associate all the beautiful consciousness. I think now you can remember how many beautiful consciousness? I think. So in the chapter 1, we have discussed, we have classified how many akusala, how many kusala, how many vipaka, how many kiriya, how many asobhana, how many sobhana. How many asobhana? Asobhana means 12 akusala and 18 ahetuka. Altogether 30. Mahakusala, Mahavipaka, Mahakiriya, Rupavachara, Arupavachara, and Lokuttara are called Sobhana. How many altogether? 59. These 19 Cetasikas arise with those 59 beautiful consciousness. I will repeat again. These Sobhana Sadharana Cetasikas, the common mental factors for beautiful consciousness, arise with all the Sobhana Chittas, or beautiful consciousness. How many? 59. There will be some exercises. Then you can enumerate the association and the combination of the Cetasikas with regards to particular consciousness. Now let's try to understand their natures and the association. Now actually this is not difficult, as I mentioned that. Just we have to think about the Sobhana Chitta and Asobhana Chitta. You can remember beautiful consciousness, 59. So nothing to think about the association. You can directly add these 19 Cetasikas. So we have to think about the remaining 3 groups: limitless, abstinences, and wisdom. When we find out the Chittas with regard to the association, so we have to think about the Chittas. But for these 19 Cetasikas, you don't want to think a lot. You can directly add to all the beautiful consciousness. Mahakusala, Mahavipaka, Mahakiriya, Rupavachara, Arupavachara, and Lokuttara. Let's move into the first Cetasika. So there are Tiso Viratio just for introduction. After these 19, the next group, abstinences, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, and Samma Ajiva. We have learned that in the Eightfold Noble Path, right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Those are called as abstinences. We will learn their associations later on in next week. Then next 2 groups, Appamanya and Panya. Appamanya 2, Panya 1. What are the 2 Appamanyas? Karuna and Mudita. Compassion and appreciative joy. Karuna, compassion; Mudita, appreciative joy. So those are also called the Brahma Vihara, among the 4 Brahma Viharas. There are 2 Appamanyayo, Karuna and Mudita, compassion and appreciative joy. Then I have mentioned the Pali sentence given in Abhidhamma Sangaha. Sabbatapi Panyindriyena Sadding Panchavisati me Cetasika Sobhanati Veditabba. We should understand those 25 beautiful mental factors with the faculty of wisdom. Altogether, there are 25. Those are the 4 groups of beautiful mental factors. Now let's move into the first one, Saddha. It has been translated as faith, confidence, trust. You can say the faith on the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, confidence of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and the trusting the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. It may understand in various aspects. So, as we are discussing the 4 aspects of those mental factors, we pay attention for characteristics, function, manifestation, and proximate cause. So sometimes it's difficult to memorize these all, even though just try to understand the nature at least characteristic. If you can't memorize those, this is characteristic, this is function, even though just try to understand the nature of these mental factors. This is very useful when we are doing Satipatthana meditation, when we are doing Chittanupassana and Dhammanupassana. Contemplation on mind, and also it's difficult to translate Dhamma, we also translate as Dhamma. Or some scholars translate it as mental objects, but usually it would be better to keep as Dhamma according to the Silananda Sayadaw as well and some other scholars. That's another thing that's regarding meditation. However, when you understand the nature of these mental factors, you can identify the nature of your mind. As we mentioned that if the mind is like a pure water, mental factors are similar to dye. So there are beautiful color and ugly colors. Think those ugly colors are like unwholesome mental factors. Beautiful colors like wholesome mental factors. You can identify whether your mind is black or ugly, or your mind is beautiful by understanding these mental factors. The characteristic of Saddha, faith, is placing faith or trusting something. Something means here not all, according to the Buddha's teaching. So, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, we trust the Buddha's qualities. We trust the Dhamma. We can get the results. We can attain attainments by following this Dhamma. And the Sangha, who is the community, follow this Dhamma and protect the Dhamma for a long time. And the practice, virtue, concentration, wisdom, and the dependent origination. So, Saddha means here the believing or faith on those objects. Its function, so there are 2 functions mentioned. To clarify as the water cleaning gem, causes muddy water to become clear. This was mentioned in the commentarial explanation about the universal monarch. And so here he has a gem, special gem. When they are traveling, they can't find purified water everywhere, not like purified bottled water like today. So it said that universal monarch has the special gem. When he put his gem into the muddy water, water becomes clear and it purified, removing the muddy particles. Commentary mentioned that we should understand the nature of the saddha, of faith, is like clearing your mind by removing the muddy particles like defilements or your doubt. You have faith, you have confidence on the Buddha. Your mind accept. Your mind give chance, give opportunity to believe Buddha's qualities. If you don't have faith, your mind do not open to accept those qualities. You have doubt about Buddha's qualities and the Dhamma and the Sangha and the teaching of the dependent origination. If we have faith, we give opportunity to believe those qualities. Therefore, it's like a clearing our mind, giving opportunity to arise the wholesome natures. You know, we have already discussed about unwholesome mental factors. When unwholesome mental factors arise in our mind, it's a nature of pollution. It's a dirty nature. When wholesome mental factors arise in our mind, it's very pure and pleasant. So, Saddha plays main role to arise wholesome mind. That's why it says that, like a water clearing gem. The next function is like to set forth, as one might set forth to cross the flood, like a warrior or very brave man. Commentary explain with a story. It's not a real story. So to understand the function of the faith or confidence, suppose there's a flood. So villagers want to cross the river and to go to the safe place. Although this river is very deep and wide with many crocodiles and with harmful fish, maybe some serpents also. So it's not easy to cross that river. There is a brave man who came with his sword and other weapons. So he told to villagers, don't be afraid. Then what he has done, he cut some woods and prepare some woods and he made a raft, big raft. Then he took the leader on the raft and he supported to the villagers to cross the flood, to go to the safe place. Similarly, we should understand the faith is like the brave man, like a brave man, like crossing the flood. It's mentioned in the suttas. It's very the famous Saddha Yatarati Oga. We can cross the flood of defilements, craving, wrong view, and ignorance with the power of Saddha. There are similes also given in the commentaries, some teachings based on suttas, some similes given in the commentaries. So the manifestation of Saddha is non-forgiveness. Suppose when we are going somewhere else in a mountain area, if the area is full with the mist or foggy, we are not able to travel. We are not able to go to our destination as we wished. Saddha clear our path, like non-forgiveness. It removes the impurities. And the proximate cause is something to place faith in, like Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. There are many other reasons: associating good people and listening to Dharma, wise reflection, developing other mental factors. Those are the proximate causes to arise Saddha. We can find many causes throughout the canon and the commentary literature. So there are only few causes given. Therefore, we should be mindful, we should be careful what we are listening. So if we listen the wrong teachings, it may lead us to be a wrong viewer. Therefore, learning the Dhamma, the real Dhamma, truth, is one of the main causes to arise faith. This is the first mental factor given among the beautiful mental factors. So there are similes, as we mentioned that Saddha is like a hand. You can, suppose if someone born without hand, they are not able to work as other people. Those who have hands, they can take what they need with their hand. Similarly, if you have the faith hand, you can take, we would call the wholesome things. It's like a hand that takes wholesome natures. And it's like a treasure or wealth. If you don't have money, you can't buy the things that you need. Similarly, if you have the treasure of faith, you can buy, I would call you can buy the pleasure because of your faith. You will reborn in celestial world. You will be a deity. Now, think about your faith is like a treasure. It's like a wealth. You can buy the pleasure because of this wealth. It's like a seed. If you want to do a cultivation, first, if you want to make a gardening to plant some crops, first you need a land, and then you need seeds. Without seeds, you can't start your cultivation. When you sow seeds, you will get the harvest. Similarly, when you have the faith seed, I would call faith seed, you will get the harvest of good results. Because of faith, you perform meritorious deeds such as offering gift to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, practice virtue, 5 precepts, 8 precepts, practice meditation, samatha and vipassana, then you will get the harvest. So therefore, Saddha is like a seed. We are trying to develop these mental factors to upgrade the quality of these mental factors. You have that seed. You have to improve the efficacy of this seed. That's why we are learning Dharma. We are practicing Sila Samadhi Panya, Dana Sila Bhavana. When we are doing those meritorious deeds, also our mental factors increase. So these are the teachings about Saddha. In this class, just try to understand the nature and the association. As I mentioned that Saddha arising all with all the beautiful consciousness 59. Next one, Sati, mindfulness. Sometimes in Sri Lanka, we use sati for memory. It has a vast meaning than the memory. Sati is useful for the memory, but we can't translate sati as a memory. So it's an attentiveness of the object, attentiveness to the present. In meditation, actually, we call. The characteristic is non-wobbling. Wobbling means it penetrate to the objects. Understand like the nature of our mind. Our mind always, the ordinary people's mind, I say regarding ordinary people, their mind always inclined to unwholesome nature. Like a flowing river. River flows towards the sea. Similarly, our mind has the nature, the inclination to incline towards unwholesome nature, not the wholesome nature. Therefore, people tend to do unwholesome actions rather than wholesome actions. Their mental stream flows towards the unwholesome deeds, unwholesome actions, unwholesome natures. Sati is not like mindfulness. It's stop that stream. It is stop that flow. It's like a swimming against the current. So understand the characteristics. Non-wobbling means when you put a balloon into the river, it flows with the water current. When you put a piece of a stone into the river, it sinks down to the depth. Sati is like a stone that go into the depth, right? Penetrating the object. So the penetration is mainly done by the wisdom, just to understand the non-wobbling nature. When you practice meditation, in the beginning, our mindfulness is not so strong. Then gradually, when our mindfulness is increasing, so we can see the object clearly and clearly with the support of the mindfulness. Either our mind or our feeling or great elements such as hardness, softness, and air element. So with the support of mindfulness, our mind do not wobble. So it sinks to the object. So function is absence of confusion or non-forgetfulness. As I mentioned that, it always remind. It always remind the wholesome nature. Suppose when someone is going to do unwholesome action, such as killing, stealing, or telling lies, our mind reminds us that's not good. That's an unwholesome. That's an unwholesome action. So it's like reminding us, like a guard, as we mentioned, as manifestation. What's the function of guard or security? Security guard. Wait a minute. His duty is to prevent the harmful person from entering into the city and to accept the citizens, good people, into the city. Similarly, mindfulness is like our guard. Also, Buddha mentioned that for the monks, please stay in your the territory of God, your territory. Our territory is the mindfulness. Don't leave from your territory. As long as we are staying in our territory, we are in safe. So mindfulness is like a guard, removing the unwholesome or harmful natures and opening the door to the wholesome natures, to do wholesome actions. What is the proximate cause? The strong perception or the foundation of mindfulness. The strong perception for whatever wholesome action, mainly for foundation of mindfulness is for the insight meditation. When you practice Satipatthana, the mindfulness based on four foundations, suppose when you practice mindfulness in the beginning, it's supposed to increase your mindfulness in the second day. Therefore, this is not a 1 day or 2 day or 10-day practice. It's a practice of whole life. Not only whole life, many lives, many eons, to eradicate these defilements. It takes a long time. Therefore, the development of the four foundation of mindfulness eliminate unwholesome mental factors gradually, day by day, monthly, yearly, life after life. Therefore, we have to practice continuously mindfulness. I mean, not a 24 hours, as possible as. There are many suttas mentioned how it develops. Now it's actually not a class to explain the meditation. This is just we are discussing about mental factors. So try to develop mindfulness. You can choose your object, either body, feelings, or mental objects, whatever. So therefore, when we develop the mindfulness, then it can guard our mind from unwholesome nature. When we are trying to do some unwholesome action, it reminds us like a guard, so this is not good for you. So we will move into the next mental factor. We have already discussed two mental factors, the opposite mental factors of these two, ahirika and anuttappa. Now we are going to discuss hiriya and ottappa. They always use as a group of two. Buddha has mentioned that hiriya and ottappa are guardians of the world. They protect the world from falling into the widespread immorality. So thus mentioned that as long as people have the shame of wrongdoing and the fear of wrongdoing, people keep precepts. They respect their parents, teachers. Whenever hiri and ottappa, shame of wrongdoing and fear of wrongdoing, disappear in the world, they do not respect to their parents, teachers. Some don't give the respect to mother. They live as animals. Therefore, this hiri and ottappa are the guardians of the world. In Pali, we call loka palaka dhamma. Pala means actually we call in Pali translation protect. In other sense, to govern, the protect, guard the world. Now let's move into the nature of the hiriya and ottappa. The characteristic of shame of wrongdoing is disgust at bodily and verbal misconduct. Its nature is disgusting, a shame to do killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, telling lies, slandering, idle chatter, harsh speech. The characteristics of the ottappa, fear of wrongdoing. Its characteristic is fear of wrongdoing regarding such misconduct, as we mentioned, bodily and verbal misconduct. Function is not doing those evil actions, bodily or verbally. Same function for the ottappa. Manifestation is shrinking away from evil. Same manifestation for ottappa also, shrinking away from evil. The different proximate cause is different for both the mental factors. Proximate cause is respect for oneself. If we respect to ourselves, think that I am such an educated person. I have this reputation. I practice this method. When you think about ourselves, we have a shame to do unwholesome actions. People think that it's not good for myself to do those unwholesome actions. Therefore, respect for oneself is proximate cause for shame of wrongdoing. Hearing. Someone respect to others, such as think about his parents, his or her parents. It is not good to do wholesome actions because my parents have this reputation. They are educated person. They have reputation in our village or in our city. Or think about, it's not good to do this unwholesome action because I have those teachers. That's not good for my teachers. That's not good for my neighbors, my relatives. When someone think about the others, give the respect to others, he has a fear of wrongdoing. Sometimes fear of wrongdoing or punishments, or so their parents and teachers may blame them, or he or she may encounter with some punishments. So respect for others is the proximate cause for ottappa, or fear of wrongdoing. Please try to compare Hiriyan ottappa with Ahirikan anottappa, what we have learned in previous lecture. Next one, alobha, non-attachment or non-greed. It's the characteristic of non-attachment. It's mind's lack of desire for its object. Non-adherence to the object, like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. I think you have experience. When you put a drop of water onto the lotus leaf, can it absorb like a paper or tissue? Cannot. It doesn't stick with the water. Similarly, alobha does not attach with the object. I think you can remember the nature of the lobha, the greed or attachment. It has a sticky nature. Can you remember the similes, what we have learned? It's like a gum. It's like a piece of meat put in the hot pan. Lobha is opposite to that nature, not non-attachment, like a drop of water on the lotus leaf. When someone sees the desirable object, it doesn't attach. Desirable sound, he or she does not attach. Smell, the delicious food. That's why Buddha has advised monks to do the contemplation, reflection, before eating and while we are eating. We try not to attach to this taste. When you develop non-attachment, when you see desirable object, when someone listens to the desirable sound and good smell, delicious food, and tangible objects, his mind doesn't attach. Think about the Buddha. He got delicious foods and very comfortable monasteries, even though he did not attach to them. As I heard that the Burmese Sayadaws, meditation teachers, when they are leaving their monastery, they do not have expectation about his kuti, about his room. When we develop the non-attachment as possible as we can live, we can make our mind happy. That's one of the main cause for the contentment that brings us the happiness. We can't be satisfied. We can't make our mind with the sensual pleasure. We think that, oh, this is enough for me. So it doesn't happen actually. The person who make his mind happy, satisfied, is not the person who get all. The person who satisfied what he or she had is the one who make their mind happy, satisfied. When we develop non-attachment, so we can live happily. Otherwise, we expect one after another. How can we make our mind happy? How can we satisfy? We will die without fulfillment. Therefore, this learning Dharma. Not only this class, maybe you are learning Dharma in other classes. Not only for just learning, this is for our practice to develop our virtue, to remove unwholesome mental factors, to eradicate defilements. Not only for learning the numbers. Now we are learning the numbers. It's also useful. It's not the only purpose of learning Dharma. The main purpose is for our liberation. When we are learning, try to think about these mental factors. How to develop beautiful mental factors. How to remove unwholesome mental factors. Okay. The manifestation, the function is not to lay hold. If we have attachment, we are trying to hold that object strongly. Suppose when you hold something for a long time, what happens? You feel pain. If you keep it away, your pain, you do not have pain. Therefore, alobha is like not to hold. And we also mentioned that it's detached. We can understand. We feel it as detachment. Then pay attention, non-greed is not a mere absence of greed. It's a positive nature. It's a positive nature of the detachment. It's not the absence of greed. If we say absence of greed, it's a concept. It's a panyati. Here, non-attachment is reality, mental factor, positive mental factor. Okay. Let's move into the next one. Adosa, non-hatred. Characteristic is lack of ferocity or non-opposing. Can you remember the characteristic of dosa, hatred? It's like a snake, always opposed to with object. Adosa is not opposing that object. You know, like the nature of the actually loving kindness is like a mother. Sometimes child hit to the mother, slap to mother while the milking, while he or she, the baby is drinking milk. Sometimes slap. Even though mom do not get angry. Understand the nature of the non-hatred. It doesn't collide with the object. The function is to remove the annoyance, to remove the fever. You know, fever means not a sickness. As we mentioned that those are hatred is like a fire. Those are non-hatred is like a rain. It removes the heat, extinguish the fire. The manifestation is agreeableness. It can be seen, especially in the loving kindness. When you develop loving kindness, our limitation disappear. We open our heart to all of them without any boundaries, without any limitations. So positive virtues, because of this non-hatred, can be seen as loving kindness, gentleness, amity, friendliness. You know, loving kindness is not the hatred at all. It should be developed. It's a one aspect of the non-hatred. It's a development of the non-hatred. That's the sublime quality of the non-hatred. So this is not a time to discuss about loving kindness. Later on, we will discuss about meditations in the lecture number 9. There we will have time to discuss about the meditations. Just to make a glance about loving kindness. The characteristic is promoting the welfare of beings. We expect, we hope, we satisfy with others' welfare. Function is to prefer their welfare. Manifestation, removal of ill will. We can feel it like removing our ill will, like cool down our mind. Also explained as like a sandalwood, like a moon proximate cause, seeing beings as lovable. So we don't have time to discuss these meditation objects in detail. Later on, we will discuss. Okay, let's move into the next mental factor. So amoha or panyindriya is the last mental factor, the last group. That's why I mentioned it as the 25th one. However, we have to, I put it here because those are the two wholesome, those are the main wholesome roots. Alobha, adosa, and amoha. The characteristic of the wisdom is the penetrating things according to their intrinsic nature, and also, I would add, common nature. Not only the intrinsic nature, also the common nature. All the realities have their own characteristics. So amoha can identify, can penetrate these intrinsic natures, such as this is saddha, this is ignorance, this is effort, this is restlessness. So panya, wisdom, can identify, penetrate those things exactly. It's like illuminate the objective field like a lamp. It's opposite to the ignorance or avijja, moha, delusion. Ignorance is like a darkness. When we are staying in darkness, we can't. The objects, the things in our room. When we kindle a lamp, like a lamp, we can see the objects surrounding us. Similarly, when a person is concealed with darkness, covered with darkness, he can't see the reality. When the light of wisdom arrives, he can see the reality. This is the suffering. This is the cause of suffering. This is cessation. It is the path to cessation. It's like a non-bewilderment. I will explain. Suppose there are hunters who are familiar with their forest. When the guest enter into that forest, guest is not familiar with the forest. Sometimes he can't find a path to go to his village or city again. At that time, those hunters support them to go to their native place. Similarly, when we have wisdom, we are not doubt about our path. It's very, very clear to us. This is the path, this is not the path. So what is the proximate cause? There are many proximate causes. Associating good friends, listening Dharma, concentration, wise attention. Among them I have here given wise attention. The proximate cause is wise attention. There are also other causes. Okay, let's move into the next mental factor. The seventh one among our group number one, first group, Tatra Majjhattata, neutrality of the mind. Majjhatta is middleness. Tatra is there. I would call the Pali term. Tatra means there. Majjhatata, the middleness. When we translate the Pali term, should be its middleness. So seem to be weird. So we will try to get the meaning. So synonyms for the Tatra Majjhatata, upekha, or mental attitude of balance. It's clear explanation. It's like a balancing our mind without bias. That's why we call it as impartiality, nature of impartiality. Conveying consciousness and the mental factors evenly. It's like a charioteer. You know, when charioteer going by his chariot with 4 horses or 2 horses, all the horses are not with the same characteristics. Some of them are tamed, some of them are not tamed, some of them are medium. There are different levels. So what is the duty of the charioteer? His duty is to balance those horses. If someone seems to be stubborn, he hit with a stick. Someone seems to be lazy, he also want to try to fast his chariot. Maybe he hit with his stick. Suppose when horses are going evenly, running evenly, nothing to do, just he have to be patient and holding the rope. Similarly, Tatra Majjhatata is like a chariot. It prevents the deficiency and the excess, or to prevent the partiality. We feel it as the neutrality of the mind. Please try to differentiate. This is not the Vedana or the Upekha Vedana, the neutrality, the feeling of the neutrality, not the neutral feeling. This is a positive nature. This is a positive mental factor that regulates our mind, that prevents the partiality, the balancing our mind. So that's the positive nature that should be understood. Finally, for today, Tatra Majjhatata is also the sublime quality we call upekha, sublime nature, the Brahma Vihara. That's equanimity toward the living beings. When we develop Tatra Majjhatata, it's also become the enlightenment factor. Upekha Sambojjhanga. Here we are addressing the sublime quality, equanimity towards the living beings. Then the treat beings free from discrimination. If we have upekha, we do not discriminate because of the race or the clan or education or wealth or color, whatever. All of them are human beings. There is no preference, no bias, no prejudice. Looking upon all as equal. Therefore, we are trying to develop those mental factors to eradicate unwholesome natures and to liberate and to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Okay. Today we have discussed beautiful mental factors. There are 25 beautiful mental factors. So we classify into 4 groups: Sobhana Sadharana, Virati, Appamanya, and Panya. Common mental factors for beautiful consciousness: abstinences, limitless, and wisdom. Among these 4 groups, today we discussed 7 mental factors in Sobhana Sadharana: Saddha, Sati, Hiri, Ottappa, Alobha, Adosa, Tatramajjatata, and the final one, Panyindriya wisdom. Altogether, today we have discussed 8 beautiful mental factors. Among these 8, first 7 associate all the beautiful consciousness, 59, but the Panya or wisdom associate only the chittas that have wisdom only. I think you can remember how many chittas with Panya, with wisdom. Can you remember? There are 47 chittas. In Kamavachara group, Kusala 4, Vipaka 4, Kriya 4, 12. Then Rupavachara 15, Arupavachara 12, Lokuttara 8. Therefore, wisdom do not associate all the beautiful consciousness. It associates only 47 consciousness that have wisdom. Today we discuss these 8 mental factors with regards to their characteristics, with their natures, and their associations. Next week we will discuss remaining mental factors in the common group, and 3 abstinences and limitless. After that, we can move into the combination of mental factors with regards to their consciousness. Okay. Let's conclude our class by sharing merits. Also, we should share our thanks to those who arrange everything with their groups and who prepare the notifications, the flyers, and doing live stream. So we also give our thanks to them. Finally, we will share our merits to deities and all the beings. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahitthika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakkhantu Sasanam. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahitthika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakkhantu Desanam. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahitthika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakkhantu Mantparam. Ittavata cemamyehi sampratam punya sampratam sabbe deva manumodantu sabbe sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cemamyehi sampratam punya sampratam Sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata chamamehi sambhatam punya sampadam. Sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Buddha sasanam chiram tittatu. Buddha sasanam chiram tittatu. Buddha sasanam chiram tittatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Recording stopped.